The mining station's emergency klaxons had been screaming for 37 hours straight. Deep in the asteroid belt of Kepler 442, Station Prometheus was dying. Its life support systems failing, its structural integrity compromised by a cascade failure in the primary power core. The evacuation shuttles had departed 12 hours ago, carrying most of the crew to safety. But someone had to stay behind to maintain the quantum resonance field that kept the station's exotic matter containment stable. If it collapsed, the resulting explosion would vaporize everything within a light-minute radius, including the nearby colony ships carrying 500,000 refugees. Commander HFY of the Altarian Defense Corps stood in the control room, her forearms working frantically across multiple control panels. Her chitinous exoskeleton gleamed with perspiration, a sure sign of extreme stress in her species. Beside her, Engineer Tokvar, a massive Goliathan whose stone-like hide could withstand the vacuum of space, monitored the containment field's fluctuating energy readings. "The field is destabilizing faster than predicted," Tokvar rumbled, his voice like grinding boulders. "We have perhaps 6 hours before catastrophic failure." "The human should have broken by now," HFY muttered, glancing at the central maintenance shaft where Marcus Chen had been working for the past 18 hours without rest. His species wasn't designed for this kind of endurance. The psychological pressure alone should have incapacitated him. Through the reinforced viewing port, they could see Chen suspended in the shaft's zero-gravity environment, his environmental suit's headlamp cutting through the darkness as he methodically replaced burned-out quantum coils. Each coil weighed nearly 200 kilograms and required precise calibration, work that normally took a full engineering team days to complete. Chen was doing it alone, in an environment where a single mistake would kill him instantly. "Perhaps we should relieve him," suggested Dr. Silas, the Etherian medic whose translucent blue form flickered with concern. "His biometrics show extreme fatigue. His cortisol levels are beyond what most species could survive." HFY activated the comm. "Chen, report your status." A crackling voice came back through the static. "Still here, Commander. Just finished Sector 7, moving to Sector 8 now." His voice was hoarse, exhausted, but steady. "How are the refugees?" "Safe, thanks to you," HFY replied. "But Marcus, you need to rest. My body will hold together long enough to finish this job." There was no bravado in his voice, just quiet determination. "I've got maybe 20 more coils to replace. The math works out, I can do it." Tokvar shook his massive head. "Impossible. The quantum flux in that sector will spike to lethal levels within the hour. No biological entity can survive that kind of radiation exposure." But Chen was already moving toward Sector 8, his movements still precise despite his exhaustion. Through the monitors, they watched him navigate the twisted maze of conduits and plasma feeds with an efficiency that bordered on supernatural. His hands, though trembling with fatigue, never hesitated as he disconnected the burned coils and installed their replacements. "I don't understand," Dr. Silas whispered. "His cellular regeneration rate is average for a mammalian species. His bone density is actually below galactic standard. By every metric we have, he should have collapsed hours ago." HFY had been wondering the same thing. She had fought alongside humans in the border wars, had seen them in combat. But this was something different. This wasn't the berserker fury or tactical brilliance that made human soldiers legendary. This was something quieter, more fundamental. "Chen," she called over the comm. "What keeps you going?" There was a long pause, filled only by the sound of his labored breathing and the distant hum of failing systems. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely audible. "Back home, I've got a daughter, Sophie. She's 7. Another pause, the sound of metal against metal as he worked. "Before I left for this assignment, she made me promise to come back safely. Not to be a hero, just to come home. But if I don't finish this job, there won't be a home to go back to. Those refugee ships, they're carrying families just like mine." He paused his work for a moment, floating in the shaft's artificial gravity well. "You want to know what makes humans different? It's not that we're stronger or smarter or braver than anyone else. It's that when everything goes to hell, when the odds are impossible and everyone else has given up hope, we don't ask, 'Can I do this?' We ask, 'Who am I doing this for?'" The radiation alarms began screaming as Chen entered Sector 8. The quantum flux spiked beyond anything a biological organism should be able to survive, yet somehow, impossibly, he kept working. His movements became more deliberate, more focused, as if the mortal danger had stripped away everything non-essential. and left only pure will. The containment field is stabilizing, Tokvar reported, his voice filled with disbelief. How is this possible? Through the viewing port, they could see Chen installing the final quantum coil, his environmental suit's radiation detectors screaming warnings that he ignored completely. His hands shook violently now and blood was visible on his faceplate, signs of acute radiation poisoning. But still he worked. Last one, he whispered over the comm. Field should hold now, long enough for you to evacuate. Marcus, get out of there, HFY commanded. The radiation levels. Already too late for that, Commander. His voice was growing weaker. But the job's done. The refugees are safe. That's what matters. The containment field flared brilliant white, then settled into a steady, stable hum. The emergency klaxons fell silent for the first time in nearly 2 days. Chen floated motionless in the shaft, his life signs critical but stable. 6 hours later, as the medical evacuation ship carried Chen to the hospital, Dr. Silas reviewed his medical scans with growing amazement. He should be dead. By every law of biology, the radiation exposure alone should have killed him 3 times over. Instead, he's going to make a full recovery. HFY stood at the observation deck, watching the refugee ships disappear into hyperspace, carrying 500,000 souls to safety. Doctor, in your medical opinion, what enabled him to survive? Dr. Silas looked at the brain scans, showing unusual activity in regions associated with emotional bonding and protective instincts. I believe the human capacity for love creates a biological imperative that temporarily overrides normal physiological limitations. They literally love so deeply that they refuse to die when others depend on them. Tokvar rumbled softly beside them. We expected the human to break under the pressure. Instead, he became something stronger than the sum of his parts. No, HFY corrected, thinking of Chen's words about his daughter, about families he would never meet but chose to save anyway. He didn't become something different. He became more human. In the medical bay, Marcus Chen slept peacefully, dreaming of a little girl's laughter and the promise he had kept against impossible odds.